groupthink. I don't know if you've heard of the term groupthink, but it's an important term that we understand. We are undeniably social. We thrive best, most effectively when we are in groups. That doesn't mean that the group always behaves effectively. Have you read The Lord of the Flies? William Golding, one of my most favourite books. I don't want to give you any spoilers here, but it's a story about a group of children that became marooned on an island, and it looks at how their morality, their moral compass of each child degenerates until they lose that moral fibre as a group. And the loss of integrity, the loss of morality runs through the group like a cancerous tumour. Have you ever been to the football or perhaps an event, maybe a rally or something like that, and one person starts pushing and running, or one person starts fighting or antagonising, and the whole group join in? That's groupthink. We have a collective unconsciousness. When I say collective unconsciousness, I mean that we feel the energy, the collective consciousness of the group, and we move with that consciousness. It's really important that we know this, because in order to achieve enlightenment, we play a role within the group. Our sense of an authentic self is integral. So when we know ourselves with minimal ego, we can come back to the group and serve the greater needs of the group. Sometimes the group goes awry and lacks a sense of morality. We see that in situations such as Jonestown, where there was a mass suicide of 900 people and 300 of those were children, and their suicide was assisted by adults. We see that in the Challenger crisis, where the Challenger went down and killed several people. The evidence was there before the Challenger went down that that was likely or could happen, and no one did anything. When a group of people have a theme or a belief that is prominent among that group, it is challenging for one individual to say no. From an evolutionary point of view, this is important. This is important that we live in groups, but we each play an essential role to maintain the moral fibre, the moral compass of the group. I used to do a lot of running. I used to love running. And I found it really interesting that when we ran in a group and we'd run towards a road, if the first person ran across the road and the second person ran across the road, the entire group would run across the road without looking. And this really typifies, or is an awesome example to demonstrate the power of groupthink. The power of groupthink is that together, as a group, when we pray, when we feel goodness, when we want to create change, the power of the group can help move us to create great things. You know that fantastic feeling when you pray in a group, or you sing in a group, or you're at a rally and you have an awesome cause that you're supporting? But what about the mob mentality, when the group does not have a central core of goodness, and a couple of people behave inappropriately or unethically, and then others follow and others follow, like a Mexican wave? You know, a couple of people at the sport will start that Mexican wave, and then others follow, and more follow, and more follow, and more follow, until the whole stadium is doing the Mexican wave. It's beautiful to watch, isn't it? But what about the negative of the Mexican wave phenomenon? That when several people in a group say, it's okay to do this, the rest of the group just believe it. That is part of our collective unconsciousness. Why is our collective unconsciousness awesome? Because it's one of the things in our society that keeps us alive and keeps our society going. But it can go terribly wrong if we choose to follow a theme in a group which does not bring us safety, security, and look after everybody's needs. We see that in Jonestown. We see that in the Challenger crisis. We see that in Pearl Harbor. Bad things can happen if people don't put their hands up. I don't agree with the law of attraction, because the law of attraction allows us to turn away from people in need. That doesn't mean I don't agree in being positive. I believe in being realistically positive, looking towards the glass half full, but not ignoring anybody in need. We are a herd animal, a flock. There is so much evidence we're social. However, our very socialness can turn against us. As a society, we're so used to people being poor that we walk past them. We make comments about them. Oh, they need to get a job. Why do you say they need to get a job? Because your mother says they need to get a job, or your friends say they need to get a job? What do you think? Why do you think they're homeless? Why do we say that? Why do we really say that? Because someone else is saying it? And we just go with that, or we saw it on the internet a few times? Why? Why are we saying that? Have the ability to stand away from the group in stillness, in meditation, in prayer. So when we go back to the group, we have a strong moral compass. Our greatest power is in our sense of unity, society, community, and as a group. That is our greatest power. It can also be our greatest undoing. Because when we're in the group, if several in the group say they need to get a job, they brought it upon themselves being homeless, I'm saying that our role is to look after every single soul in existence, every single soul. By becoming our authentic self, we can come back to the group and put our hand up and say, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Enlightenment will only occur when all of us wake up. We have our greatest strength and unity and power as a group. We have a collective unconsciousness that spreads like ripples or waves through our group. We have a role to play in our group. The role is to stand up and say, I don't agree. I will not criticize that person. I will not complain about that person because 3 other people are. I don't agree with the decision of the leader. I don't think it's okay to ostracize. I don't think it's okay to marginalize. It's important to always take a group's pulse. What is the heartbeat of that particular group, and what do we have to do with that heartbeat? What is our role within the collective unconsciousness of that group? There's a proverb claims, those who stay silent do not say nothing. When we are with a group, what do we feel about the group in our gut? Is the group behaving efficiently, kindly, caringly, and considering the universal needs of our humanity and our world and our universe? Prior to making any major decision in a group, each group member needs to consider the pros and cons of every single decision and set our society up so that the greater good can always be considered. There is a need for every group to conform. It's an all too common ailment, a condition, an illness within our sense of society, within our herd complex. This takes a healthy group and makes this healthy group an unhealthy, inefficient, unproductive, possibly dangerous group, a dysfunctional group. In order for groups to make sound decisions, leaders need to consider the environment, consider the philosophies, consider the values, consider where this group is going and what purpose this group serves. Looking at the diverse points of view within the group and valuing everyone's point of view so that the decisions of that group are sustainable, compassionate and caring for everybody in the entire world. Let's keep the group honest. Let's protect our group by authentically being ourselves so that we are the best possible soul we can be when we come back to the group. Groupthink. Groupthink exists. Groupthink is the ability for the group to behave without honour, integrity and honesty because of a feeling that runs through the group, a morality, a sense of purpose, of values. What values do we bring to our group, to our cultures, to our societies, to our families? Do we sometimes let things go because leaders or people in the group believe otherwise? Or do we stand firm for what we believe as individuals? The stronger we are as individuals, the more we can bring that is positive and sustainable and good to our group. What do you think about groupthink? Prayer. Prayer has so much power. The more we work towards being good people in our own right, the more we can take prayer, the beliefs of many, and make these real across all frontiers, across all socio and economic areas, across all demographics, races, genders. It's up to us as individuals to come back to the group and say what we feel in our heart.